give it a trial. The UK's Ministry of Defence faced new requirements for the Second Gulf War. For the equipment of the soldiers, suppliers were ordered to issue the enhanced equipment with urgent operational requirements. Where does it sit? Time, yeah? Something else?
Quality.
Maybe, you would hope so. Oh, okay, I've done that even in 2 steps. It's really just time. And did we have any former soldiers or current soldiers from British forces? Okay, last year we did. It's actually quite shocking. It was pretty poor quality. If you compared it to the other troops, those kind of like, how would you call it? Projects are actually normally run with allies. So there's hardly one country that goes alone into any kind of operations like that. And the British troop had by far the worst equipment. That was actually really shocking. If you see that something is rushed on that level, supposedly equipment that secures your health, that is quite concerning actually. Yeah? So they were not thrilled about that. Okay. Why do I have so many? Another defense example. I hope that is my last one. Yeah, it is. The Eurofighter Typhoon was a project that brought together new systems into a prototype for unstable airflow design. The wiring system caused computer failure in the extreme maneuvers. The delay and increased costs were considered less important in comparison to solving the problem. Mostly really because of the illustration the plane came down, which is undesirable. So if you have a show and there's your prototype flying beautiful curves, and then it comes kind of down like a brick, then it's not so cool. Yeah, so where would you see that?
Quality.
Yeah, quality and maybe something else? Oh no, it was just quality, so I'm again too passionate here. I wanted to say it's as well time that you want to put, but it's not. Yeah. And by the way, if you want to know the countries, this was miscommunication between British company and the French company, mostly to do with the units, of how they communicate length. That is quite concerning actually. Okay, then we have VW Group developed a universal multi-component chassis for VW Group. Where would you see that? Why would you do something like that? One chassis to rule them all, yeah? Cost, yeah? Time, yeah? Cost and time. Is that something else?
Quality, I'd say.
Yeah. It should really be in the middle, but I have it from the example at least. It was argued in the VW Group it would allow increased quality because of the standards, so you can actually refine and make it more accurate, and then time. So they can produce. Wait a minute. So the best is still kind of Porsche. They are still out competing VW, but I think that it's 1 hour in a day. Yeah. So and then this is another. So the whole line time is like 8 hours. So this means, and you have multiple cars on the line. So wait a minute.
That sounds like a cost.
Yeah, it was to a huge degree because you could standardize all the models. So it doesn't really matter if you have Skoda, VW, Audi, Bugatti, or I didn't want to be too controversial with this. Actually, Bugatti is not true. They have an extra chassis for that. But you can actually see that the production lines are so streamed that you can actually produce 3,000 cars per day in the manufacturing. But this is equipping the whole thing. Yeah? So this is a lot. So in a year you can equip like kind of half of London with new cars. This is that is the ambition. So keep in mind it's as well a fashion product. You should buy new cars as this advertisement. Okay. Time and quality. It's a joke. Yeah, I didn't mean that really. But time and quality priority. But we agree that there's certainly a cost element too. So we would probably put it in that too. Yeah. Okay. So with strategic choices, we have to basically bring it back a little bit to the initial designs. We have on the one time, first the scope is formalized and define the details, thus driving the budget, time and estimates. So this is one way of doing it. Yeah, so this is a planned approach if you want. Yeah, and then we have the formalized approach where you kind of start off, you have a project agreement, you have been given a time and a budget to kind of come up with a solution, and then you kind of start, of course, developing the scope. So this is a value and vision driven project. Yeah? And those are probably, which one have we tried to do in the seminars? Did we do this one, the planned approach, formalized? I gave you the scope. Or did we do value and vision driven? Did I give you kind of the remit for values and vision? What do you think?
Value and vision.
Value and, oh, this was slightly contested, it came out, okay. So value and vision was the answer that I hoped for, but yeah, so yeah, this is in a way what we tried to do. There are, of course, formal ideas behind the scope. So scope comprises the project deliverables and the work associated with producing these deliverables. It is important to also define what is outside of the scope. Yeah? This is in particular important if you work with clients very closely. Yeah? So, i.e. the deliverables that the project will not provide. Yeah? Scope management is continually applied throughout the project lifecycle. And if you're interested in this, this is a big thing. We are not good at this. We have huge difficulties with scope management. This was actually very well illustrated by Cecile and I think it's David Hodgson from Manchester. They wrote a chapter about scope creep, and there's as well a paper about it. Very well done, yeah? And they kind of describe the dynamics that you have to watch out as a project manager. Has a lot to do with psychology, yeah, but it has as well a lot to do with how we actually assemble projects. Yeah? So kind of from the design to playing around with different product parts to actually assembling it into a product. So it's often a modular approach. Yeah? That is basically all I want to say to you. But a beautiful piece of research. This is where my reading recommendations, of course. So there are, of course, as well edge definition with the scope. So this is kind of like the bottom line, if you want, of the scope. Arguably, the only certainty in a project is uncertainty, which is up to you to kind of like filter in and to create clarity, if you want. Yeah? There are many variables in the project. Yeah? Of course, this is as well given. Specification will lack accuracy in terms of the final outcome of the project, especially in the conception phase, and specification will not be sufficient detail early enough to predict exactly the deliverables. So we had kind of this in the workshops that we did. And that is probably, now this has been addressed on the slide, so there you go. Many people experience it that way. So that is really where scope management comes in. Scope management is a process by which the deliverables and the work to produce them are identified and defined. Identification and definition of the scope must describe what the project will include and what it will not include, what is in and out of the scope. So in a way, this is what we try to do. And we have as well the scope creep with a reference. I won't go into the details, I talked you already through. The classical tools to avoid this are things like earned value management is, for example, one. Yeah. There's well specific tools to quality methods like Lean or Six Sigma. Yeah. If you work with those, you will see you have your own tools. They come back to the same idea. Yeah. It's often about identifying expectations, creating a prioritization, and how much value they actually generate in the final thing. Yeah. This is like very big, but if you go through the right processes and everybody is into it and contributes, then you often arrive at very good prediction actually. Yeah. Okay. Project context. a little bit, actually, are there any questions to the scope so far? There was quite a bit of discussion, I guess, in the lines. Anybody questions to the scope? Observations? Have you seen scope management in action before? Okay, some people not. Did it work well? Was it tough? Or?
It's the buy-in factor. I found I related back to that graph you were doing before, personally. The anger, so people putting their foot saying, no, this will never work, to new ideas, and eventually they got the buy-in. It did like level out.
Yeah.
So I did actually agree with what your chart was, personal experience.
Yeah, so scope, again, you make the valid points there. Scope management really relies on stakeholders or the team.
It's the team of manufacturers, the operators, people on the shop floor, shall we say. The buy-in was with them guys, not just management. The problem we came across was coming down, but we were trying to bottom it up, and that was the problem, the challenge we had.
So top management was not really...
Wasn't really buying in at first, but they did eventually.
Okay, super.
Because they've seen the cost-saving measures, eventually.
Yeah, this is always complicated. We are back at the iron triangle, yeah, but once I think you have the buy-in, then you have often as well established the ground for running projects that way, and you achieve a different success rate. Yeah? So it's as well for you as a project manager, this is a very smart thing to do. You often arrive on a safer side in terms of like being evaluated as well against success. Yeah, exactly, brilliant. Okay, further for investigation, and oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to say it. So we cover as well configuration management and change control in detail. Yeah, value management, I assume you know already because you have it with Claudio, isn't it? Some of you have it with Claudio, others will have it next year. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, let's have a little bit a look at the project context because this is again something that I find fascinating. Yeah, this, so project context, we jump here by the way into a definition oxymoron, yeah, because project context is very difficult to explain with other concepts, but I hope it will make sense at the end of the definition. The project context refers to the environment within which a project is undertaken. Projects do not exist in a vacuum, and an appreciation of the context within which the project is being performed will assist those involved in the project management to deliver a project. That makes sense so far, isn't it? Yeah. Now, to find actually out about it, the most common one that you find in literature is a wonderful PESTL tool. Yeah, so it's political influences, economics, social, there as well spins, some go for sociological, yeah. If you're a little bit more in a university academic environment, then you have as well technical, or yeah, there again spin-offs from that, environmental and legal. And if you want to really look at the impacts on your project, you often combine that with a simple SWOT analysis, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. So you combine it basically. You look what do those factors bring out for us, what are the opportunities, what are the threats, and then you have to manage those, of course. Yeah? So you find tools to monitor where you are, when things improve, do they get better, do they get worse, do we have to actually change course with what we are doing. Yeah, so that is what we can get from that level. Now with the project environment, there's a certain notion to complexity, and I have actually repeated this, so it interrelates. This is a 5C model. I've taken that from Mailer because he has summarized it nicely. But what it comes to is you have the completedness, so this is producing integrated solutions, moving away from product or service focus. Again, this is like kind of on the edge. We don't do that necessarily. A lot of the times we still do solutions. Yeah? Then we have customer focus, new standards emerge due to changing expectations. We have done an interesting thing in 2001. We did an agreement in Europe and have depoliticized. So that means that probably the standards that a lot of your future colleagues in companies will know are no longer valid necessarily. Some of them are really good standards, but we have removed a lot of them. So check that everybody is up to the right thing. This is actually quite confusing. We have never done that before. This is a game changer in a way. Yeah? Flexible to create the vision as well. Complexity. Simplest ideas have been exploited. Yeah, so we have actually a lot of the simplest solutions. Now we have additional requirements, so we have to rethink a lot of the stuff that we're doing. Increased use of complicated technologies in combination with behavioral systems. Now this is a real big thing. It's a remit of behaviors that are likely to happen, and they have kind of been extrapolated, and we have kind of a full picture of what behaviors are possible. And last but not least, it's competitiveness. While some sectors still build institutional organizational forms, this means like you protect it. This is a guy who decides who's more competitive or better in competition than the other. Technology has reduced monopolies, resulting in flexibility and places the time and quality as competitive resource. What does it mean? If you have a computer with internet, you kind of can compare across borders. There is no real restriction anymore. So this has made it actually a new game in competitiveness. If you have a client that you paint, this is my old example, I think I've given that 3 times now. But if you have a client that you paint a picture for, the most drastic small organization one is, I guess, the romantic one is like you're painting for your mom and she likes it and puts it on the wall. That is a closed circuit. Yeah? So competitiveness, you have out-competed everybody. Yeah? This is of course heartbreaking if then somebody offers another painting and she takes yours off and puts a new one on there. This is, they have been more competitive. Yeah? So you get the vision. Yeah? Okay. Actually, I think, we running out of time. I've given you as well, this is kind of optional. Okay, I jump again the model. The model you're probably quite aware. This is reading for next week. Next week we start kind of to think about how we select projects for portfolios. And this will be an exciting exploration of what's going on. But I have as well touched kind of the PowerPoints for blind education. So this is like an art evoked topic at the moment. If you want to research that, you will see there are hardly any books, and you have to read the journals there. But we have done a lot of those processes just to hint. Yeah, so you will see that a lot of that is actually kind of covered in the workshop series that we have just completed more or less, yeah? Which you will present to me. And I will present you as well with version B and C of assessment that you will see. But I have worked it out, so there's a few slides, and then again at the end I think somewhere you have as well the references to it, I hope. Other references? Oh, well, we have the references before. Okay, never mind. But there are somewhere references as well. I hope. Ah, yeah, okay. So there's where the references to it. Yeah. So again, for you to engage with. Any questions? Critical look? Yeah? No, okay, that was just a critical look. Okay. Okay, I will be around if you have questions. Can you forward again the camera? Super, okay.